Two girls were drinking cocktails by the pool of the spa centre and discussing the latest news. "So, Tiffany, how is your driver, Edward? Still in love with you?" asked Caroline. "Yes, I'm fed up already. He follows me around, looks me in the eyes like a puppy, literally carries me in his arms. Can you imagine? Yesterday he brought me a bouquet of wildflowers. I didn't even touch it. Who knows, there might have been spiders," said Tiffany squeamishly. "Well then, pay him more and he will be giving you expensive bouquets," laughed Caroline. "Oh, he's willing to work for me for free as long as I'm around. But it's time to shut this circus down. Logan will be back soon. I'm going to fire Edward, though it is a pity after all. He's a first-class driver," said Tiffany with slight annoyance. "Oh, I have an idea. Let's laugh at him at the end. We'll find the homeless girl, wash and dress her, and introduce her to your Edward as the best bride for him. That will be very funny." So the next day, they found a suitable candidate on the street. The woman looked awful. She was dressed in some rags. Her unbrushed hair was hanging down, covering her eyes, and Tiffany thought that she was in her 40s. "What's your name?" asked Caroline. "Shelley," replied the poor woman. "Look, Shelley, you're really lucky. We have a generous offer for you. How do you like the idea of coming with us to the hair salon and getting your hair done and then dress up?" Shelley looked at the beautiful blondes in surprise. "You see, this is a social experiment. We wonder if it's possible to make a beautiful woman out of a worthless creature like you," added Tiffany, who was no longer happy about the whole idea. "So you think I'm worthless?" asked the beggar woman with a chuckle. "Well, I agree." "All right, listen here, we'll pay for everything. After taking a shower at a beauty salon and getting your hair done, put the dress on. Then a cab will take you to where we'll be waiting for you. Don't worry, it's nothing to worry about. We just want to see if we can make a dummy into a beauty," said Caroline. 20 minutes later, the girls left Shelley and the beauty salon, and while the hairdresser was working on her hair, Shelley was remembering her past life. She was raised by her grandfather. She was a smart, hard-working girl, and when she grew up, she decided to leave for the city. Her grandfather did not want to let her go, but he understood that she needed to arrange her life and not sit with him in the village. "As you come to Rose and get a job, call me, and in general, call me regularly, please. And be careful with the men." "Come on, Grandpa. I'm going to work, not to settle my personal life. Besides, I'm very grateful to Rose for agreeing to help me at first. She's so kind." "Shelley, you're so naive, and the city is evil. Rose is my neighbour's granddaughter, and you should be careful with her." "Grandpa, don't worry. Everything will be fine." But Grandpa was right. Rose sheltered Shelley only for the night, saying that she was used to living alone and was not ready to change her life. "We'll rent a small place for you somewhere, and you'll understand how it's great to live free and independent of anyone," Rose said meaningfully. "By the way, I've already arranged for you to be a waitress at the same restaurant where I work." Shelley shook her head. "No, you shouldn't have. Grandpa will be upset if he finds out I work as a waitress." Just understand that without education, you will not be paid as well as in a restaurant. There's tips, and there's plenty of rich people around. You can choose anyone," replied Rose and laughed. "Grandpa told me to avoid the rich men," replied Shelley. "Oh, Shelley, you've turned into an old lady because of your grandfather. Look at you, long braid, skirt below the knee, even the blouse is fully buttoned. Who dresses like that? Look at me." Shelley smiled modestly. "Well, you're beautiful, but I'm ordinary." Rose stopped arguing because in her mind, Shelley was hopeless. However, she managed to persuade her to work as a waitress. 6 months later, Shelley met Logan, who was not only very handsome, but also rich. When he proposed to her, Shelley did not hesitate to agree. Shortly after the engagement, Logan invited Shelley to work at his company as a head. "You're crazy. I don't understand anything about it. I have only school education," exclaimed Shelley. "Shelley, I trust only you. I can't do it myself because my father is an official." Logan managed to convince his fiancée to become the director of his company. Shelley's head was spinning from all the business, although she was a nominal director and Logan did almost all the work. But one day he left on a business trip and left the whole company to Shelley. The next day the police showed up at the office and accused Shelley of fraud. "I don't understand. I didn't do anything illegal." Shelley was shocked. "We'll find out. Large sums were transferred to offshore accounts and the government lost hundreds of thousands in taxes, and all documents have your signature on them." Thus Shelley was arrested. She tried to contact Logan several times, but all to no avail, and even in the court she saw only his lawyer. And so Shelley was put in jail, and Logan began to live a new life, forgetting about his fiancée, whose life he had broken. For the first year, Grandpa visited Shelley, but then his heart couldn't take the grief, and when Shelley was released, she was crying on his grave for a long time. The old house she grew up in had fallen into disrepair, and Shelley had to go back to the city. But no one wanted to deal with the ex-convict in the city, and Shelley had no chance to get a job. Eventually she ended up on the street. Sometimes she would spend the night at a shelter, and at the local market she would work as a garbage sorter. It was there that she was seen by Caroline. While Shelley was at the beauty salon, Tiffany threw a party to celebrate the arrival of her fiancé Logan, and at the same time to get rid of Edward. "Edward, I know you're in love with me, but I already have a groom. But to thank you for all the years of your impeccable service, I found you a bride," said Tiffany, and then turned louder to her guests. "I beg your attention. You will now see a woman worthy of my driver. Although she's really homeless, she is a great match for him." Edward blushed to the roots of his hair, but pulled himself together. He didn't pay attention to Tiffany's mockery for many years, because he was insanely in love with her. "Thank you, Tiffany, but I prefer to solve such questions myself, and I will marry a woman I love." "Come on, Edward. They are sure that we are not capable of having feelings only because we have no money," heard a pleasant but slightly chilly voice. "Who are you?" asked Caroline surprisingly. "I am the beggar you cleaned and dressed. You called me a worthless person, but a real worthless person stands beside you, Tiffany, and I'm not talking about Edward. Do you recognize me, Logan? As you see, my dirt was easy to wash off, but yours will be with you forever." Shelley then told Tiffany everything that had happened a few years ago. "And now I'm leaving your marvelous performance," she said as a farewell. 2 months passed. Tiffany broke up with Logan, and her father brought her fiancé out into the open and got him to jail. Shelley moved back to the village and began living in her grandfather's old house, restoring it little by little. One day, while she was cleaning the yard, Edward drove up to her house. "Shelley, I was looking for you in the city, and it turns out you're here." "Yes, I decided to go back. I shouldn't have left my home place. But then I wouldn't have met you." "We'll be fine. Do you believe me?" said Edward, smiling warmly. "I do now," Shelley replied, with a smile on her face.